Welcome back to the Nickel and Dime Football Show. It's your boy Suds. We got the man Drew behind the wheels of steel. Listen, it is getting close to the witching hour here in this NFL season, and I put on the light parka because it was some cold games this past weekend, baby. Listen, we're gonna talk about it all here. It's only but so many left that way. We gotta dive deep into it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure to hit Drew up on drewharrisoncomedy.com, coming to a city near you. It's Nickel and Dime, baby. Let's go.
We did. We had some. I agree with you, Sean. We had some great games. We had some blowouts I didn't expect. And in true fashion, I got half the games right, and I missed half the game.
I was man, I was really hoping that I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, but Trevor Lawrence just came up short, man. I was hoping that was the pick that I was going to get right. Of course, because I don't know what it is. I'm tired of the Chiefs. I'm tired of them. I'm tired. I'm tired of them. Tired of
Yeah.
them.
Well, that was the only pick you got wrong last week. So you picked that.
That was pretty good.
You picked everything right. Well, let's get into it. First game up, Chiefs 27, Jaguars 20, Patrick Mahomes 22 for 30, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got that brutal looking ankle injury and kind of had to improvise the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Drew, well, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like at this point in the year, after the playoffs start, there is some injury, some key injury that the Chiefs sustain at least the last 3 to 4 years, which is ultimately, I feel like, has derailed them from winning, Patrick Mahomes winning that second championship.
Yeah, I mean the worst time for the injury bug to bite you. Chad Henne came in and threw a touchdown though. Oh, anything
Man,
is possible.
I didn't see it coming the second time. Like he did it, 2 years ago in that magical game that altered Baker Mayfield's career, basically.
Right.
Uh, and I didn't think we were going to get it again, but lo and
I didn't
behold,
even think about
Chad
it.
Henne, I mean, he might be the best backup in the league. I mean, the
Yeah.
way he can come in with the stones and just handle the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I mean, he did what he needed to do, Drew.
My man is averaging one playoff game a year and is doing work.
Yeah, I think somebody said I think he's been in the league maybe anywhere from like 13 to 15 years. Chad
Yeah.
Henne
Yeah, Chad Henne from Michigan. I
getting them
remember his Michigan
checks.
days.
Yeah, me too. That's how we
Trevor
are.
right, Trevor Lawrence 24 for 39, 217 yards, a touchdown and a pick. ETN ran in a touchdown. Jaguars didn't look bad, they just didn't do enough.
I don't think you could have put it any better than that. And this was a game that they needed to do enough in
Yeah.
order to get the victory. And for as much as I don't like the Chiefs, I have to give them credit that last week I mentioned that San Francisco is the team that you need to be perfect against to beat. Kansas City is also that team. They are also that team that you have to be perfect because it wasn't perfect for them
Yeah.
and they still got it done.
I still love that y'all beat them in a Super Bowl and you don't like
It
them.
baffles me too. It baffles me too,
They didn't
and
take
I
nothing
think
from y'all.
they really didn't. Except in the regular season matchups, which that's how you know that it digs deep into my soul because it's just a regular season matchup,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
fair.
embarrassed us all the
Okay.
time, and I will never forget. I will never forget.
That's fair.
But no, man, uh, the Travis Kelsey, man. Travis Kelsey.
There when
That's
he
what I
needs
was
to be.
struggling to get out here. And he is. And the problem is this, and I think this is why it irks me. I'll get to it here, but you know it's coming. You
Yeah.
know it is coming. there's nobody as consistent on the Chiefs roster except Travis Kelce, aside from Patrick Mahomes, obviously. But you know what's coming. How do you not stop it? NFL defenses, NFL defensive coordinators. What is the problem? What is the problem? I don't understand it. 14 catches for 98 yards on 19 targets and 2 TDs. Come on, bro. I don't know, Drew. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess and I'll kick it back over to you on this is the reason, part of the reason why I hate Patrick Mahomes, and maybe many others do as well, is because like it's just a jerk off fest, man. Every time they get on the TV, it's just Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he does such great things, Jim, and like he could hurt his ankle and make errant passes, and they're just, I mean, it's just all over the TV, man. It gets everywhere, and it's disgusting. Yeah. It's disgusting. Yeah. So that's what it is.
I love it. I mean, I got to live with a Chiefs fan, so I don't mind it. I enjoy it. They got to be my second team till death do us part. But I think Pacheco added 95 yards. That's good to see a run game contribution on their part, because this is usually about the time the Chiefs' run game disappears. So it's nice Pacheco's still going. ETN only got 62 yards, but granted, they were playing for touchdowns most of the game, so I understand that.
Yeah. I was hopeful that, you know, because they were playing from behind, he would actually have been more involved in the pass game, because he's a back who can catch out of the backfield. I think that's largely why he happens to be so dangerous. Drew, what do you think the Chiefs need to do in this next game? Because, you know, Pacheco's been up and down this season. Tony's been there. He hasn't been, like I said earlier, the only consistent person has been Travis Kelce and Patrick. The only people will do Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. What do they need to do to make these other players more consistent so they're not as one dimensional in my eyes?
Well, first and foremost, they're going to have to simplify the offense, because Patrick Mahomes is not going to be mobile. So they're going to have to get a lot of these receivers involved. Little, you know, posts, little slants in the middle. Like, they're going to have to get more options to where Patrick Mahomes can sit there and go through his check downs and find whoever's open, because he's not going to be able to run to get open.
Yeah. And maybe it's just me that is like not necessarily, or maybe I'm downplaying the ankle injury too much, because I just feel like Patrick Mahomes can burn you from the pocket too. It don't matter.
Of course. That's why this isn't a done deal.
Right.
I'd be more worried about this if this was like the next game we're going to talk about, if this was Jones with an ankle injury and couldn't run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, Patrick Mahomes still has that cannon attached to his right side. So nothing's over yet. But nice segue.
It's really not.
Nice segue into our second game. What is over is the magical season that was Brian Daboll's first year with the Giants. Jalen Hurts and company take care of them 38-7. Jalen Hurts, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, added in a rushing touchdown himself. Gainwell, welcome to the league, buddy. 112 yards, touchdown. So it was, Eagles were just,
they were running all over the place. Yeah, they've been doing that might need to be on a t-shirt in Philly yesterday. Man, I don't think you could have put it in any better. I mean, they had 200 yards plus 200 plus yards rushing between all 4 rushers that they had, including the quarterback.
Scott.
Yeah, didn't need to pass the ball that much. I mean, the defense did its job more so than did their job. I don't know how anybody on the NFC, I mean, there's only one team left, but I'm a little worried for Brock Purdy on Sunday. The way that this team is sacking the ball, man, this defense, man. And
it really showed the Giants' lack of receivers, because their top 3 receivers were James, Barkley, and Breida.
2 running backs.
Yeah. And a wide receiver we haven't heard much from until recently.
Nope. And he was still pretty. I mean, he had 7 catches on 10 targets. So I mean, they tried. They just, you know, it just wasn't much else that they can do. And I think that this happened to be the game that the overachieving Giants that we expected to get a long time ago. This was that game, and Philadelphia put it on
What a
them two times
terrible game.
earlier on in this year.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, what I want to say is that talking about the Jaguars and the Giants, two games that we are talking about or just talked about, but these are two teams who are clearly on the come up, though. Uh, I mean, having overachieved, maybe not the Jaguars, or maybe them as well with such young players, but I'm really looking forward to what these teams are actually going to do next year, and this is a very important offseason for both of these teams.
Yes, for sure. Giants got to decide if they keep Jones and Barkley, stay tuned for housekeeping notes. Giants GM has already made a statement about Jones and Barkley.
Oh,
So good things coming for Giants fans, I feel like. If that's
yeah,
your cup of tea, if you like these guys. A lot of Giants fans are split on if
right.
Jones is their quarterback or not. So
Yeah, yeah. If okay, quick aside question, Drew. If Daniel Jones was your quarterback and you were a Giants fan, not a Panthers fan, how would you feel? Like, would you want him going forward?
I think we
Go
got
ahead.
his ceiling right now. I think what he just did for us is as good as it gets.
Yeah, yeah.
But
15 to
unfortunately, he's
27.
warranted a chance. Like I didn't think he had that in him. So he did.
Yeah, yeah.
He played. I worry about these teams that get built around these obscure, like not obscure, but like unique quarterbacks. You know, like Baltimore's about
Mhm.
to find out if what life after Lamar might be.
Yeah,
If he doesn't come back, which I'm sure they'll
right.
franchise tag him as much as they possibly can, but they built this team around him, and the Giants are kind
Yep,
of built around what Jones and Barkley kind of do, and I don't want the Giants to turn into another one of those black hole teams that no receivers go to, and this is just what they
yeah,
do, and it's successful but
yeah.
not successful enough.
No, that's a good point. And the Giants used to be a receiver
Just
team.
deep,
I mean,
four or
just deep
five
at receiver.
receivers. Yeah,
It, ever since they drafted Odell Beckham, that's when it went downhill. They haven't really been able to get receivers in after that. They reached the pinnacle, and they have a forever highlight to show for it, but that's about it.
oh man, isn't
Man,
that awesome that he's in a Giants uniform? Like if you're a fan, like that catch
yep,
will always be in a
that
Giants
catch
uniform.
always, man. I mean, so Giants are done, Eagles are in, and I guess we'll talk about this game here in a second, but I feel like both of the teams left in the NFC are basically at a crossroads as of what they're looking like moving forward here, which may be an indication of how I'm going to go on my lock. But got to stay tuned for
Okay.
that, man. Got to stay tuned
All
for
right.
that.
Well, unfortunately, what some thought was going to be the game of the divisional round, the Bengals and Bills, was a little lackluster.
Yeah,
Little, little,
yeah,
little Joe Burrow one-sided ish, if you will.
yeah. That
Uh,
that boy is cool, man. He is cool.
that's all they've been talking about on ESPN is how cool Joe Burrow is. Like
Yeah,
they brought in Joe Cool, Joe Namath to do this whole background story on how cool Joe Burrow is.
man. I mean, hopefully now
They're
don't
going
jinx
to
the
inflate
man.
this dude.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Don't jinx the man, ESPN. I mean, let him just be cool is under the radar. That's where cool
You
is,
know,
right?
cool don't
Like,
talk about how cool it is.
thank you. Thank you. And you don't need to because you're cool. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So in the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, 242 yards for the boy,
two
quarterback rating
touchdowns.
over 100. But the more important thing here is, and I mentioned this
It's
last
your
week,
dude.
Joe Mixon.
There you go.
He got off. I
He
said he
needed a
needed
100
to.
yard game.
He did. I honestly, Drew, I didn't know if he would get it against this Buffalo defense. And shout to the run game coordinator.
As soon as it started, as soon as that snow flurry came in, I was like, "Ooh, Shawn might be right. Mixon might have a game," and he did.
Yeah, yeah, he did, and added a couple of catches here, 9 yard average, and the passing game did just enough, but I think that's what told the tale is the snow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they had to get it done on the ground. And moving over to the other side, Buffalo have been struggling in that rush game, man. I mean, same song and dance is just a different year, and it bit them.
Yeah.
I don't know what they need to do, but this has been a multi-year problem for them, Drew, for the rush game.
Fair enough. They keep bringing people in, and it just doesn't seem to work. They got
Ain't
them.
working.
Is this year they finally move on from Singletary?
I
Try
think
to get.
so.
What if they go out and get Josh Jacobs?
Oh man, I know. I was about to say Oakland. I know Las Vegas is they're trying to rebuild and stuff like that, or retool rather, and keep those guys in house. Because
Especially
but
if they
I
make it
don't
a
know that
run
they'll
for
want to let
Brady.
them go.
There's so much
Yeah, I don't know if they're
speculation
gonna
and
want to let
rumor
them
out there,
go.
man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
This
it
offseason
is.
is going to be wild, man. But on the
It
flip side of
is.
that, Josh Allen, 25 for 42, 265 yards. He had a rushing touchdown like we knew he would, but no touchdowns thrown.
Yep.
He threw a pick. The team as a whole, 63 rushing yards, 26 of those were Allen's.
And that tells the story right there. And I think this is even more of a slap in the face, Drew, is that Buffalo is home. You can't run
That
the
was
ball.
their home field advantage with the snow. They anytime you talk about a snow game in Buffalo, you kind of
Yep.
wink to Buffalo being like, "You got this."
Yep. Yep. And they did nothing.
Yeah.
And another thing here is what I hate to see. And our guy Dawson Knox has been on fire lately. He has been on fire, catching the ball, big run after the catch guy, and now it's come to an end. I hope he sustains that through the offseason and he just takes right off where he left off. But he had been largely inconsistent, and these last couple of games, he had been the guy, and I like to see that. So hopefully he can continue it, but I hate to see it end. Drew, we got to talk about it, man. Or maybe talk about it in housekeeping notes. But how you feeling about the whole Diggs
Oh yeah, we gonna talk about it in housekeeping
situation?
notes, but
Oh, stay tuned,
I
man.
would
Stay
feel weird
tuned.
about it until I heard his statement. Now I feel better about it.
Okay. All right.
I feel better.
We'll talk about it. Don't get the people too much too early.
Yeah.
Don't get the people too much too early.
Last recap game, them Niners beat them boys. Pretty 19
They
for
did.
29, 214 yards. Didn't have to do much. CMC didn't have to do much. CMC had a rushing touchdown. Then they let Robbie Gould kick 4 field goals. And that's what beat Dallas.
Man, what a tale of two Dallases, right? I feel like these last two games, you've seen the peak and you've seen the valley of the Dallas Cowboys and what they were this season. Of course, their peak came against my team, but we suck, so that's what happens. Uh,
Yeah.
but then, I mean, for them to turn right around and have all that momentum just taken from them, I really didn't see it coming. I was hoping Dallas was going to put up a little bit more of an effort to make us look better. Self-serving, of
Yeah.
course.
There's 2 picks from Prescott, man, and Elliott only had 26 yards. Pollard broke his
Yeah,
leg. Like, man.
yeah, that hurt. That hurt
Yeah.
them, and I think he was clearly the focal point. And then as soon as he went out, I was like, I don't know
What
what
do we do
else
now?
we're gonna do.
How fitting would it be if Zeke Elliott's last play as a Cowboy is him just getting pushed over, playing center as some wonky hook and ladder type formation they had out there?
Uh, I feel like it will be very fitting. Honestly, I feel like that would fit like a glove for the way
Yeah.
his career arc has gone, and it's been a clown show these last
Yeah,
couple
man.
seasons, man. And what is talking? I guess another question to you, right back at you about Zeke, but talking about his last play, what is the market for Zeke like, considering how
That's
how how he came
that,
to the league?
that's a very good question, man. Because what does he do? Is he a run between the tackles guy?
I mean, he
Isn't that
was
what he was as
uh,
advertised as?
right, yeah,
Because
and
he's
he
not a
used to
speed
be
guy. He's
no,
not
and
a
he
get
but
to the outside guy.
He used to be he could, of course, between the tackles guy, but he was a guy that could beat you around the edge, and he hasn't been that guy for a while. So that's why I had to ask you. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, at this point, do you try do you try to repackage yourself as a fullback? Go to one of these teams that still uses a fullback.
I
Like I
mean,
can
clearly
catch.
he can't do center, so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
might need to do that. Oh
Too small
man.
for tight end conversion. So I don't
Or
know.
he's got his money. Hell, just retire, man, which he
That's what
won't.
I'm saying. But I don't think he's got a great enough following in the league to go the commentary route. So like, coach, I guess is that what you do?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, running backs coach. I would want Z to be my
I'd
running
go
backs
to
coach.
Zeke. Yeah,
Hell,
I'd go to
go
Elliott
back to Ohio State, man.
Academy.
Coach there. Yeah.
Right. So
Nah, but I mean, and I guess we'll talk about this team a little bit more in the upcoming matchups here, man. But San Francisco, man, I mean, they didn't need to do a whole lot because Dallas didn't show a whole lot. Coaching, I think, won them this game more so than players, clearly by the stats. But
who who had
I,
49ers with a third string quarterback going to the NFC Championship game on their this season bingo card?
nobody, nobody. I mean, first
Would
string,
they be here with either other quarterback? Would the 49ers be
man.
in this position with Jimmy G or Trey Lance?
I think as long as the Christian McCaffrey trade happened,
Okay.
then yes,
Okay.
because the defense and the running game and the coaching could carry. They clearly carried all
You're
three
right.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think as long as that trade happens, then definitely yes. Because
Okay.
Elijah Mitchell at this point is he's a luxury, even though he was a starter at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I am glad for his sake that the Cowboys didn't lose by just 1 point with that poor kicker missing his first extra point. He drilled home a couple field goals though. So
Yeah, he did. I was watching on pins and needles for that very first one. I was like, "Come on, bro!" And
he's
then
still gonna
he
get cut,
missed it.
but
Oh, yeah.
he's still not gonna be the kicker next year. But
Yep.
he at
Nah,
least went out with a little dignity.
it's too many eyes on his misses these last couple of weeks for him to
He gonna be
immediately
the
be penciled in as a
he
starter
gonna be the
anywhere.
first cap casualty.
Yes, yes. I
We're doing
mean,
it for cost saving
are
measures,
we
Simon.
sure that he made it onto the plane?
I don't know, man. They left
Right.
him in
Yeah.
San Francisco. But hey, they could be like, "Hey, Gold's probably retiring soon. Can I like hang out?"
Yeah. Yeah. Just stay around the facility. Man. But I don't know, man. Interesting games. I think, you know, do I think that these last two games are the most compelling matchups? Yes, I do. I think the way that they have been playing Bengals Chiefs and Eagles 49ers. I not maybe not necessarily on the AFC side, but on the NFC side, two best teams in the conference.
Yeah. Did divisional round outperform the wild card round, or did the wild card round get us?
Ooh, I think I like at that point we still have more football and my team was in it, so I gotta go wild card round. I gotta
Okay.
go
All
wild
right.
card
More
round.
exciting for you. I got you.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
All right. Let's get into some housekeeping notes, the news and notes from around the league. Bill O'Brien returning to the league as the Pats offensive coordinator. So at least we'll know who to blame next year when Mac Jones is throwing his helmet around.
Yeah, yeah. Coming back to the league, Bill O'Brien, man. And I think he was on the list of potential offensive coordinator candidates for the Bucks. But according to like one of the sources that I use, it was never really. He was always going to the Pats.
Oh yeah,
So you know,
yeah. That family tree is strong.
strong. Yeah, yes, sir.
You asked me about it earlier. Stefon Diggs did get his stuff in a hurry and left Buffalo facilities after the loss. He did
Mm-hmm.
return, but as soon as he was cleared from coaches, he was out again. And he released a statement the day after and said, "You want me to be okay with losing? Nah." So
Yeah.
I'm good with that sentiment. You know, I mean, I have a not a temper tantrum, but a reaction to losing a championship game in
Yeah.
hockey under my belt, so I know those feelings. I threw my silver medal over the fence because I felt
Damn.
like we got cheated out of the game a little bit. But hey, you live and you learn. I was 17, but I get it, man. Like, can you imagine how frustrating the last few years have been to end
Yeah.
for the Buffalo Bills?
And it's
Like, my
been
man takes it hard too.
he does. He does. And I mean, you can clearly see he's going to give 100% on the field. No, I'm not okay with losing out, especially a game of that magnitude.
For the third
Uh,
straight year.
for the third straight year. Third straight year. I, I think the frustration is some of a part of the frustration is like, what do they need to do?
Right.
Because he's, you know, he's not underperforming.
They even brought Beasley back for this game.
They
Man,
did.
like, come on.
They did. Yeah, they did. And he had some catches too, in the last couple of games, but maybe a sign of desperation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else they can add to that team. Oh, excuse me.
OBJ.
They could have added OBJ, and that's that. Talking about receiver Drew, I mean, you tee me right up for it. Gabe Davis, what happened this year, bro?
This
What
was supposed to be
happened?
his year.
This was supposed to be his
Everyone's
year. I
like, he
mean,
might battle Diggs for the receiving yard league on this team.
right? Yeah, 2 catches for 34 yards or something like that. Like, and a bad drop. Like, come on, man. Like,
Come on,
they
bro.
they need to find a consistent receiver, and it ain't you. Okay.
I'm hoping McKenzie keeps developing.
Yeah.
I know he'll forever be their slot receiver, speed guy, but
Right.
I liked what I saw from him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it's so up and down. You never know when you're going to have an Isaiah McKenzie game, so we got to get more consistent.
I feel like that fits the slot receiver though. You know, I feel like the slot receiver on every team's kind of like the wild card. Like, what is still keeping with the Bills, Allen says he needs a lot of, and I quote, rest and recovery on his right elbow this offseason.
Drew, it don't look like it affected that man at all. I'm sorry.
Nah.
They still won a lot of games off his back and arm and legs.
Yeah. But that's good. He's not heading toward. He's like, I'm not heading towards surgery or anything like that. So it's nice.
That is a good point.
Last thing I want to do, I would want to do. I'm talking like I've been through the season. Last thing I want to do after a long season is throw a football.
Yeah, go take a vacation, man. You earned it.
Right. Giants general manager says they plan to move forward with Daniel Jones as their quarterback, and that signing him and Barkley to contracts are priority 1A and 1B.
Drew, I feel like the NFL is basically the epitome of a classic Chris Rock line that says a man is only as faithful as his options, which is 100% truth. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you claim
I
to
forgot
be.
about that old bit.
That is the truth. So, likening this to the NFL, of course, that's what he's going to say because that is one of his best options at the moment. Now, who else is out there in a couple weeks, couple months?
Lot.
He might be changing his tune. So, give me that lip service now. Don't know that it's going to come home to roost, though.
That's fair. And I mean, like you said, that QB carousel is just starting to take, like, just starting to take pre reservations. Exactly. Like who wants to save their seat now. Yep. So it we'll see. Keeping with the QB, good for him though. Dak took full responsibility for the loss. He's only got one more year guaranteed money on that contract, and he takes a big cap hit. And if they get rid of Elliott, and then they start getting those big eyes where they're like, we could save how much for getting rid of Dak too? Like,
yeah. Based on what he put out there, man, and his play and the interceptions. I mean, recency bias is a big thing, man. So
right, and sometimes you just need a fresh scene. Like granted, it hasn't worked for the last couple of quarterbacks that the Colts have brought in, but I fully think Carr's going to have a good year if he goes somewhere else.
Yeah,
Rodgers would probably have a good year. Everyone's saying Rodgers is going to New York now. That's just hilarious to me. Like,
he
you
ain't
tried
going.
so hard not to be Brett Favre, and you going to be Brett Favre?
Oh man, that would be. Oh, just stay away from welfare issues and
Just
things like
leave the
that.
poor
Just
state of Mississippi
leave
alone.
that alone, man. Don't
Jeez,
go to
jeez
Mississippi,
Louise,
Aaron
don't take
Rodgers.
any pictures of your penis on your phone. God, but
I
Brett
forgot about
Favre was
that.
my dude when I
I
was a
forgot
kid.
about that.
Like
Right,
Brett Favre was one of those first players that I like was hyped about, and
right.
then what a just a fall.
That's why you don't have heroes, kids. Like,
Yeah,
that's why you don't have
my favorite
heroes.
sports personalities growing up: David Justice. He beat Halle Berry. By all accounts, Michael Jordan sucks. I love
That's the
that
best.
dude with all my
Yeah,
heart.
yeah, yeah.
And
Drew, you know how to pick them, man. You really know
right,
how to pick them.
right.
Even though Jordan is everybody.
Uh, Keeping with Dallas, Tony Pollard had successful surgery fixing his broken leg. And just the cherry on top, they had the high ankle sprain on top of the broken leg.
Man, and that was honestly news to me, man. I did not know that he broke his leg. I thought it was just a high ankle sprain. So,
Yeah. Next day
man,
I saw he was in surgery. I was like, surgery. Oh,
damn, yeah. So that's gonna put his next season in jeopardy. So,
yeah.
ugh.
Yeah. Dan Quinn, Dallas's defensive coordinator, had a second interview for the Cardinals head coaching job. Um, Mike Kafka, the Giants OC, had a second interview for the Texans head coaching job. Panthers are all over the place. They're giving a second interview to Kellen. Uh, is it Moore?
Kellen Moore, yeah,
Yeah.
Dallas coordinator, yeah.
Colts look like they're rolling with Saturday too, man. He's got a second interview.
Well, he must
Yeah.
have did some impressive things. I don't. I mean, he could be on my staff. I don't know that I'm rolling with the head guy, but
Not yet,
yeah,
like
yeah,
oh
yeah.
man. Panthers signed, this isn't really a big news, but it just is. I love the guy. I wish he would get a chance. But Panthers signed QB Jacob Eason to the reserve future contract.
Okay, big arm Eason, man.
Yeah.
They people in love with traits. They love traits in the NFL, even if they don't matriculate to anything. But that's why you get 12, 15-year careers. Looking at you, Chad Henne.
Right. Ravens claim ex-Cowboy cornerback Trayvon Mullen, who just happens to be Lamar Jackson's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Nope.
family around him when talking
Hey,
extensions. And the last housekeeping note, we got both the Bengals and Joe Burrow both acknowledged that they would like to get an extension done this offseason. My man about to get paid.
yeah. All
Especially
right.
if he sneaks in a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think like if you give normally when you give extensions, it somehow lessens the cap hit if you spread it out over a bunch of years. So
There you
maybe
go.
it's best
Maybe
for
strategic too.
exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk these matchups real quick.
Ooh.
NFC, we got the final two 49ers at Eagles. Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts. Didn't think I'd be saying that at the beginning of the year. Philly, we talked about it, ran the ball effectively.
They did.
Last week. Well, 49ers, that's kind of their specialty. So I want to see which team can actually keep going with it, which team has any chance. If you were to say one team stopped the other completely from running the ball, who would you say has the upper hand?
Man. If one, ooh. Honestly, I'd say probably San Francisco. I think the San Francisco defense is not going to be it's power on power. So I can't
Yeah.
even say that they won't be the issue or they won't be the issue because somebody's got to win, and then some aspect of the team is going to look bad is going to give it up. You know what I mean? It ain't going to end in a tie. So if somebody had to stop it, I probably would say San Francisco, just because Philadelphia's rush game, aside from the quarterback position, has been up and down all season. So I got to go with what I've seen with my eyes on this one. Same question to you, man. What do you think?
I think the 49ers have a better chance at stopping the Eagles, but that Eagles defense is very scary as well. So
It is.
I can see Hassan Reddick and the boys being like, "Oh, we're the underdog defense."
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
we just held the Giants to 7 points.
And maybe he did this in the year that he played for the Panthers. But did Hassan Reddick win comeback player of the year? Or do they just give that to injured guys who come back?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
but either way, I say
Yeah,
that to say
he
I
should have
heard
won something last year. He
right
had such a great year
exactly.
for us. He
Yeah,
won a
man,
big contract from the Eagles. That's what he won.
that he did. That he did. He's about to get probably about to get paid again unless they gave him more years. But I say all that to say I just heard a stat about Hassan Reddick that his first 3 years in the league, this man had 7 sacks, and now he's got 40 some odd sacks. So he's had 39 sacks these last 3 years.
Good God, man!
Just on a tear, man, on a tear. This is
Cardinals got a good history of letting some quality players go.
they were screwing with him, like they were moving him here, and
Oh, like
just got
Rule was doing with Chin.
yes, yes. You got to let dudes develop at their best position, man. But talking about the game specifically, man, like I mentioned earlier, these two teams are at a crossroads for me. And San Francisco's looking like they're going down. Not necessarily the defense holding, Dallas Cowboys to 12 points after putting up 31 against the Bucks, but the Eagles just look like they are
Rolling.
rolling right, man. They
And
are
isn't that
rolling.
the team that usually
Offense.
loses in the conference championship?
It is, or the Super Bowl, one of the two,
Yeah, yeah.
one of the two. But man, I mean,
Who you
this is
picking?
it's gonna be a great game, Drew.
Who's your locked in guarantee to win?
I think that, like I mentioned before, that Brock Purdy game where he's just coming down is coming, and it didn't necessarily happen last week. I think this Philadelphia defense gets after his ass, and San Francisco goes down. Man, the rookie quarterback finally comes back to bite them in the biggest game of the year for them.
Nice. Well, I feel like we're gonna have differing opinions on the next game. But this game we agree. I think the Eagles win this.
Right.
I feel like they have clinched up the NFC a long time ago in my eyes. And then that game last week against the Giants was just that validation.
Yeah.
Because they are, like you said, man, that off week didn't affect them at all. They are clicking. They are good to go. Looking good at the right. That in a weird roundabout way, Jalen Hurts getting hurt at the end of the year and getting to take some time off might have been the best thing for him.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue that either. And it just happens to be the one that, like, maybe one or a few times that the week off did help and you didn't have any rust on there.
Yeah.
Which coaching,
Yeah,
I gotta say it's got to go to coaching, man. So I guess that only leaves one other game. Hell, we only got one other game, man.
Yeah, it's that time, man. The time of the year.
It is.
Cincinnati Bengals at no neutral sites. Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs. They got to go into Arrowhead. That high decibels of noise. I'm very intrigued to find out what Pat Mahomes can do with that ankle. Yeah. Can the Chiefs secondary also have a repeat performance with what they did against Lawrence, turning him over? So the Chiefs secondary has been questioned all year. I feel like they step up sometimes, but not play. They're playing the best receiving core they've played all year.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be tested. They're going to be tested. I do like the way that the Chiefs' defensive line has been playing. Chris Jones still, I don't think he got that elusive sack yet. But Frank Clark, man, I mean, dude is just providing consistent pressure.
Possessed.
Yeah, and they're lined right up next to each other. They're doing their thing right now. And this, I feel like it's the back seven that's kind of been letting them down a little bit. Yeah. But you can speak to that more than me because you watch all the Chiefs games. But Bengals, they just look like they're rolling. And I feel like the Chiefs, for as great as they are, I'll say two-dimensional because it's Travis Kelce and it's Patrick Mahomes. And then you get supplemental pieces that seem to pop up every week because they win games. So that's coaching to me as well. So, but they need somebody else to go off.
They need Smith Schuster to step up, or they need Tony to have a big game, or they need I've been seeing the Gray, the second tight end, has been stepping up and having bigger games. Yeah. So two of those three need to take some of the pressure off Kelce and be those other options because, like we said, Mahomes is going to have to
Yeah.
sit there and pick where he's going.
Yep. And it's got to be precise because he's not going to be able to roll out of the pocket. So you got to be precise in your routes, and they have to execute. They're going to have to execute because your all world quarterback is at a little bit of a disadvantage. They just look like they're rolling to me, man. For as much as the Eagles look like they're rolling, I don't think Burrow's confidence could get any higher. If they win this game, they're going to win the Super Bowl. If they win this game, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
That's the best part about this, man. Just being an NFL fan, there's not a bad matchup in this. I'm good with any of these matchups for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
Because they're all going to be entertaining in their own route. Like, there's always that one matchup where I'm like, please, just as long as both these two teams don't win. But this time I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we get an entertaining Super Bowl either way. I'm not sure. Drew, you mentioned the secondary. I'm not sure how that secondary is going to try to defend against the trio of receivers and 100-yard back in Joe Mixon, especially if they commit to that running game in the cold Kansas City area.
And Hurst just stepped up a little bit, had some good games. So a lot of different worries for an already shaky defense. So I'm very intrigued with it, man. I got a feeling who you're going with, but I'm going Chiefs, man. I know
you got to.
I got to. I'm contractually obligated, but sure. I do feel Andy Reid's going to have a very specific game plan, and if anyone can pull that off, it is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So the only thing I need to see is if Kansas City's defense can keep Burrow under 30 points. If this Kansas City defense can keep Burrow under 30 points, they win the game.
Okay. That 30 points is a lot of points, man.
But not the Burrow and the Bengals.
That's true.
Like the only reason they didn't put that up against the Bills is they took their foot off the gas.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm definitely going Bengals, man. I gotta go Bengals. I don't have to go Bengals, but I just think they're the better team right now. You got to hobble Patrick Mahomes. I mentioned it all throughout the show that I feel like they're largely one-dimensional. And to your point, Andy Reid's the X factor for me because I don't know what that big brain of his is cooking up.
He's eating a cheeseburger as we speak, game planning, my dude.
Yeah. He's game planning, and that's one thing you just can't account for is if he sees something, he's going to take it from you, and that might be the difference in the game.
If he has a game plan and the Chiefs go down and score on their first drive, it's over. It's a wrap.
Okay. This NFL is too wild for me to say that because
I know. I'm over here at 500 with my guesses. I'm just trying to be bold enough for the universe to be like, okay, we got to make that happen now.
Yeah, speaking into existence, man. I don't blame you, but I got to go with the Bengals. I just think that, man. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
It seems like they're always a bridesmaid, never a bride, because the Chiefs have been there to the mountaintop. They've got one, but they've been in the position. 5 years, Drew? Last 5 years they've been in the championship game?
Yeah.
They can't get over the top to win another one. What do they need to do? You know, like they might, if they can't get it this year, I think they have to be looked at almost in the same sentence as the Buffalo Bills back in the early 90s.
That's tough to do when you got one, though. When you win it's tough to compare because those poor Bills couldn't get nothing.
You're right. You are right. They did get one, but like,
I hear you on the disappointment. I would agree with you even more if the Buffalo Bills already weren't holding that spot as the new Buffalo Bills. Yeah. They're still holding both of those.
Right.
I agree with you, man. That's why isn't it funny that sometimes the second one can be the monkey you got to get off your back?
Yeah. In the dynasty conversation.
Yeah. Look at Aaron Rodgers. My man couldn't get a second one to save his life.
It won't. He's not like he's no, he's done. Or unless his situation changes,
take some Jets to the Super Bowl next.
Right. But man, I mean, just Kansas City. I think they do have to be in that conversation, man, because what talking about legacy, you did get one, but damn, I mean, how many
Oh, I hear you.
cracks do you get at it?
I mean, I'm as a Braves fan that went to 14 straight, won 14 straight division titles, have
Oh
one
man,
Super Bowl to show for it. I get it.
yeah,
I get it. I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. But
right.
sometimes getting that second one is just damn near impossible.
It is, man.
Well, we're got our conference championships this week. We'll be off next week. And then we will be back the following week to get you ready for the Super Bowl.
The
Um,
SB,
that the grand. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to say the Super Bowl. The grand game put on by the NFL. But no, we
interesting.
come after our views. It's okay. But
Yeah,
we'll keep it locked in. Hit that subscribe button. Shawn, where can they find you at?
at the Kid Suds on Twitter, at the damn, oh,
Good, got it.
yeah, at nickel underscore dom FB on Twitter and at nickel underscore dom football on the IG. Drew, where can they find you, man? Your great content.
Hit me up, drewharrisoncomedy.com, at Laugh with Harrison on Instagram, putting out little reels and stuff. Hit the little like button. But
Yeah.
most importantly, enjoy the games this week. We'll see you in time for the Super Bowl.